So Miami is playing awesome this year, right? Momentum's here. You're through the Cristobal era. The boys are buzzing. But I think for Miami, man, we need to discuss something. I think they're good enough now to not just be in the playoff conversation and ACC title conversation. I don't know if we're ready to have this discussion, but I think they could be a national title contender. Before we get to that, though, we'll talk about it. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the On The YouTube channel. Miami Hurricane fans, make sure you're dialed in here. As you can tell by this intro, we are very, very high on your Hurricane. So make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed. Also, this show, The Hard Count, brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Daily fantasy, easy to use, easy to play, easy to withdraw what you win using code HARDCOUNT now. $5 in lineups. Even if we don't win, we plan on winning, but even if we don't win, gets you $50 in promo funds to play with. Got a play for you a little bit later in the segment, but here's a little Easter egg. Caleb Williams, free square, all September long. Thank me later. So the obvious part of this whole discussion around Miami is like, okay, you got a quarterback now. You got a quarterback that can run the system that Shannon Dawson has in place. Because last year, you got some folks saying, does the offense work? And you're kind of pointing fingers when you're not having the success offensively you want to have. Y'all, it works. It works in a very real way. And it's, I think, a relationship where it works because of the system, but it also works, obviously, because of what we just mentioned and what we all know. Cam Ward is, in fact, that guy. Okay, he's that guy. And I'm not worried about the level of competition. They're going to play better competition as we go. But like what we see so far is all, in my opinion, going to translate. It's the alpha mentality. It's the slow heart rate in the swamp. It's the fact that he's throwing for 11 yards a pass, over 400 yards a game passing for Miami on the year. Like what they got rolling right now, it works. And again, Shannon Dawson, air raid disciple, but they also want to run the football. And that, I think, is kind of what makes them, to me, a national title contending team. The quarterback is a massive part of it. But how many teams have we seen have a stud at quarterback go 9-3? Like LSU last year is a great example. And I'm a massive, massive fan of what Brian Kelly's doing and what Mike Denbrock did there a year ago and Jaden Daniels. But, like, you didn't have the other things around that offense to complement that team. Like, defensively, Miami is in a, I think, good position. But to put a more macro take on this thing, I think Miami is a real deal tough outfit. Like physically. Like they are not just Miami in the trenches. They are the U in the trenches. How many of y'all know now there is a difference? And Mario Cristobal, he understands that difference. He came to Coral Gables understanding that difference, trying to push the needle to get that trench play to be up to where he expects it to be. And this is something we've said a lot about Miami. We were always expecting the trenches to be up to par. Why? Because of who Mario Cristobal is. Where is Mario Cristobal from? Literally Miami, yes. I mean, he's from the offensive line. If there was one part of this football team he was going to have dialed the heck into his standard, it was going to be the offensive line. And right now, Miami running for 6.2 yards a carry. Other side of the trenches, defensively, allowing less than 3 yards a carry. And I get it's been FAMU and it's been Ball State and it's been Florida. Who knows what's going on with Florida? But like, I think we're seeing now all of the buildup from the last 2 years starting to show itself here in year 3. And again, with the quarterback to maximize it. Because the quarterback is the one that makes everything come together now. I've told this story a couple of times, but I'll tell it again. When I was dating my now wife, Valentine's Day, I'm making a shrimp scampi. I'm fired up. I got the shrimp. I got the pasta. I got some olive oil, some spices. I'm ready to roll. I realized halfway through, I don't have butter. Didn't have it. That's all me. Crucial missed assignment. And so I start looking at the recipe and I'm like, okay, is there a way to make this work without butter? Very quickly I realized, no, there's no possible way. That has been Miami over the course of the last couple of years as they started to assemble a talent roster to compete. You got the good ingredients. You got a Francis Mawanoa. I know he was a true freshman last year. He's still a dog now. He's still a stud. Xavier Restrepo, Ruben Bain. You have added more portal pieces since then. But if you didn't have Cam Ward, if you didn't have that crucial ingredient to make this team what it is, you would be out of luck. And so as we move forward now into modern college, 12-team playoff football, that's going to be the difference, having the quarterback. Because I think Miami now has a roster that is in the neighborhood of championship level. Now, is it up there where it's better than Georgia's and better than, Ohio State's? we'll see. We'll see how they stack up. Right now, I think those schools have stacked more high-level classes than a Miami has. But just being in the neighborhood with, I think, a legit dude at quarterback, that can be the difference. Because I think when you look at Miami going forward now, there's going to be some situations where being in the neighborhood is all it's going to take. Because if we get on the same field with you, and our guy in Cam Ward just decides to have a day, that's it. That could end up being the end-all, be-all for why Miami makes a run in the college football playoff and competes for a national freaking title, which is a lot of pushback is going to come on this video. I understand that. It's fine. Again, we're not really into the clickbait or traffic for traffic's sake, but we'll get accused of that because of how we're talking about Miami. I'm telling you now, Cam Ward is a national championship caliber quarterback. Feel very strongly saying that. He's a national championship caliber quarterback. So, it's one thing to have the ingredients, but do they have the things under the hood that allow you to win at the highest level? Again, I'm not calling my shot for Miami to win the whole darn thing, but I am saying with the styles they can play now on a roster, they deserve more attention. But we know now, national title winning teams, they have some of those DNA traits. And the DNA traits, to put it simply for me, are like you have your standards and you play to your standard as frequently as possible. Like there's very little variance from when you're playing an FCS team to when you're playing your best team on your schedule. And so for Miami, that's the next question I have. Like, hey, you beat up on Florida in the swamp. Well, now you go on a short week, welcome in a team that is 2-2, conference play after you've played a couple of lower-level teams in Ball State and Florida A&M and USF. What are you now? Are you able to ramp it back up, nameless, faceless opponent, main thing is the main thing, and go out and get after it? Now, I think Miami wins this football game, but if they go out there and they just absolutely just drag Virginia Tech at home in Miami, that would tell us, I think, a lot about how far along they are. So I want to say this correctly. Like, I think Miami is in that national title discussion. Am I picking them to win the national title right now? We're going into week 5. So, like, let's take a second here. I don't think they are on the same roster talent level as Georgia, but I think them being in the neighborhood and having Cam Ward gives you a little bit of that, hey, let's see what happens kind of approach when it comes to the Canes and what they could compete for in 2024. So, PrizePicks, again, bringing you the hard count. Great way to support the show. Code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups, picking the more or less on 2 projections for players. You're off to the races. Using that code, $50 in promo funds. Here's the play I like a lot, man. Friday night action, Cam Ward, 314.5 passing yards. It's a lot of passing yards, but guess what? I like the more there. He has only been below that total one time this season. And with them playing Virginia Tech, I'm anticipating him to play the majority of this game. There's not going to be a situation where Cam Ward's hanging out in the fourth quarter with, just some Gatorade next to him, or maybe they're a Powerade school. Not sure. Bottom line, I think he'll play a lot more of the game than maybe he would if it was lower level competition. So I'll take the more there, and I'll pair that with the Caleb Williams free square, more than a half passing yard all September long, and we're rolling there. So put those two together. Again, use code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups, even if we don't win, and we plan on winning, $50 in promo funds. Also, little note here, great way to support the show. Let the folks at PrizePicks know we got some college football sickos dialed in and supporting the show in that way. So, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.